introduction about myself. My name is Johan. I started my career in human resources. I'm an organizational psychologist from South Africa. After the human resources, I joined a consulting company, one of the major consulting companies, as a principal consultant. And after that, I got an assignment as in one of the oil companies in Abu Dhabi. That was in 1999. Eventually, I joined the oil company and got involved in development of people, especially coaching and mentoring. And that is something that I'm really passionate about. And that is what I would like to share with you. We are going to be on an interactive session. I want us to have fun this afternoon. Some of you may still be locked on lockdown, not back to work. For those that are back to work, I hope you are enjoying it to see your customers and your colleagues again. So I've been in the UAE for 21 years, and as I said, people development is my passion. And I joined Select because I believe that it's my opportunity to share what I've learned through my experience with other people. And if I can transfer a little bit of my knowledge to you this afternoon and make it easy for you in your coaching and mentoring journey, I've accomplished my mission. Before we start, I would like to ask if you could just use the chat box and give us an indication of which companies that you are from. And let's see where we are. If you're not from the UAE, also indicate if you are from another country. I'm just trying to open my chat box here. Dubai Municipality, good afternoon, Jeline. Emirates Post, Dubai. HIDCT, Malaysia, great. Abu Dhabi Government. Department of Culture and Tourism. Maldives. Great to see somebody from Maldives. How's the weather there? It must be beautiful. Any other companies? You're a master student, Suat, not working, but hopefully this will help you. Hello, everybody. It's good to see that you're joining us. Welcome to this session. Hello, Faisal. Expo Center, Sharjah. Dukab, Abu Dhabi Branch 2. Cheryl, welcome. Hello, Haya. Al Hossein from Expo Center. There are a lot of people from Expo Center. Great to see that. I just want to check, can all of you hear me? If so, just give me a thumbs up. Great. Hello, Ali. Welcome.
Hello.
We are going to start with the session, and I hope you find it useful because I'm really passionate about this, and especially one thing that I've learned during this lockdown is that we need to care for one another, and coaching and mentoring is one of the ways that you can use. Hello, Moni. And coaching and mentoring is a very powerful tool that you can use. We are all people with experience in life, and it's a way that we can use to share our experiences with other people to make them feel more valuable in their career paths and our opportunities. So we've, over the past several months, conducted many sessions, and we love to have you part of our community. And we would like you to stay connected with us. We are on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. We are recording this session, and this will also be posted on YouTube for you to refer to later on. We also are on social media. You can download the QR code, the app in the Play Store, and from your mobile device. Hi, Cecilia, Sumaya, hello. Good to see you guys all here today. Now, it's nice to communicate with a face, so if you'd like to show your face and using the video, you're welcome to do so. If not, no problem with that. Please put your mobile on silent and keep it away from the computer or laptop to prevent unnecessary interruptions or background noises. Now, how to get the most out of today? Most of you are probably familiar with Zoom. I will mute you while I'm speaking to avoid external noise. Sometimes people keep on the microphones and there's a lot of background noise. That is the icon that you can use to unmute yourself if you would like to contribute and say something. And that's the way it looks like when you unmute it. Reactions. You can also show reactions. You will see at the bottom, there's a reaction button. You can either clap hands or show me a thumb. Can we see whether that works? Give me a thumbs up. Right, it's working. It's working. Great. Thanks for the thumbs up. Right. When you want to change your view, obviously you can change to the gallery view. Hello, Ahmed. By just clicking on that icon. Now the house rules, the material is copyrighted, so please don't take any recordings or photos. But as I said, it will be posted later on YouTube. It's really important for us to share on the social media what you've learned from the session and maybe pass it on to other people. And if you post anything, just refrain to post any materials from the session. Now, we only have 1 hour, but I would like you to stick with me for the duration because it may exceed a few minutes depending on the discussions that we have. There's so much that I would like to share with you that I just need you to stick with me. Firstly, we're going to look at the characteristics to be required to be an effective coach or a mentor. Then we're going to look at the difference between coaching and mentoring because some people think it's the same thing and it's not. So I'm going to give you some insights to understand what exactly the difference is between those two. I will also give you some guidelines for virtual coaching and mentoring. One thing is for sure, two things that I've learned. People skills are very important in this period as we've gone through this coronavirus episode. And you may in future be required to use whatever platform, whether it is Microsoft Teams, WebEx, or YouTube, or Google Chat, to do coaching virtually. And I'm going to give you some tips that you can use for that. And also identify reasons why coaching and mentoring fail, because there are some things that we need to be aware of to ensure that we keep our coachees or mentees on our side. Now, if I may ask, how many of you are currently coaching? If you can just put in a why. Coaching, if you are coaching somebody, just say yes. Why? Anybody? Yes, I've got somebody there. Abdul Rashid. Ali, you coaching someone? Great. Mentoring Volunteers Club. Yes, we're going to talk about that. Cecilia, you you are also coaching. I think the majority of you are probably involved in coaching rather than mentoring. But mentoring is something that sometimes evolves a bit later in your career. And can I see anybody that are mentoring specifically? Yes or no? That's a mentor for somebody. Right, so it looks like we're going to be focusing on coaching, and obviously we'll also look at the mentoring. Now, there are certain characteristics that we all need to have to be coaches, to be good coaches or mentors. Now, there are some letters on the screen. We've got a P, we've got an I, R, S, D, R, and RM. I would like you to take a piece of paper and just write down for each one of those letters one characteristic you think represents the role of the coach or the mentor. So for each one of those letters, think about the qualities that the coach or the mentor should have. Just write it down. Don't give me the answers now. Abdul Rashid, I see you coaching your son. We are all, those of us that are parents do that on a daily basis. Sometimes it's just how we do it. So maybe some of the hints that I give you today will help you. This is a noble cause, people. It's something that you can make a difference in other people's lives. So it's great to have you with me this afternoon. So think about those letters and think about the characteristics you think represent the characteristics of a good coach or mentor. We're going to take them one by one. So we will start with P, I. After you've written it down, we will go through them one by one. Hello, John Ree. So quickly write down what characteristics you think represent those that we need to have as good coaches and mentors. Abdul Naeem, are you right? Quickly write down, what do we have? Okay. What did we have for P? What did you think? What characteristic is representative of a character? Patience. That's one, patience. Anything else on P? You need to be polite. You need to have a good personality. In other words, good interpersonal skills is really important. Also be a good performer because you are setting an example for other people. You need to be a leader as well. Persistence, very important. None of the things that you are writing are wrong. The patience is very important. And the reason patience is important, we sometimes deal with people that are still young to their careers, and they don't always understand the concepts and organizations and dynamics of organizations. And in that way, you need to be patient. You also need to be passionate. I love that. You need to be positive. Anything else on P? Okay, let's see what I had. We'll go to the I next. So let's just first finish the P part. Productive, you need to be productive in order to show and let your coachee or mentee know. And by the way, in this session, I refer to coachees and mentees. Coachees are the people that are being coached, and mentees are the people that are being mentored. They also use protege for mentoring. Different terms, but it's sometimes confusing. Perseverance is also important, Rens. Now, the word mentor is actually from the Greek mythology that is a trusted counselor, and we'll talk about that. Let's first finish the P. P, patience. Patience is really important. So sometimes people may ask, your coachee or your mentee may ask you questions that you think, but don't you know what this is? Don't get irritated. You need to have patience because we're working with someone that's new to the environment. You also yourself need to have potential. And it is especially important because you can coach in the area that you are qualified. We prefer that you are a coach in the area that you qualified. If you are a mechanical engineer, you can't necessarily, now important, if you're a mechanical engineer and you coach in general skills, for instance, you coach somebody on working on an Excel sheet, no problem with that. But if you are a coach and that specific mechanical, something about pumps and compressors, you can only coach in that area, all right? What did you guys have for I? What characteristic do you think I represents? Intuitive, inspiring. We need to inspire the people that we work with. Interest, you should always show interest. Also, you need to have intelligence. Interactive, innovative, great inputs from you. Initiative, very, very important. We'll elaborate a little bit about that. Okay, so the I is initiative, and initiative is basically the ability to assess and initiate things independently and the power or the opportunity to act and take charge before others do it, all right? Also integrity, that's part of the basic values, very important. We don't want to disappoint our people by doing things that are not related to our integrity. The next one is R. What did you have for R? What characteristic do you think is important? Reliable, responsible. People depend on you. So they need to see you as a reliable person they can turn to whenever they need you. You need to have respect for the person. It's about building relationships. Selflessness. Anything else? Okay, so what I had, respect, very important. Thank you, Haya. What I had is resourcefulness, and resourcefulness is basically having the ability to find a quick and clever way to overcome difficulties. Because sometimes the coachee or the mentee may come to you with something that's really challenging, and you need to be able to pull on your resources and experience in order to help that or assist that person. You also need to react in the right way, not overreact. Thank you, Abdul Rashid. What did we have associated with S? Supportive. Oh, very, very important. If they feel I don't get support, the person doesn't have time, it could affect the relationship. Also, you need to be successful and show the successes that you've had by doing the work in the right way. Selection. We need to be able to select the right people to do coaching and mentoring. Not everyone can be a good coach. You need to have strengths in the area that you are qualified. Right. You need to be skillful. The one that I had, supportive, absolutely, Nora. I had strategic, and that is the identification of the long-term or overall aims and interests and the means of achieving them. What we mean by that is when your coachee or your mentee approaches you for the first time, they don't really have a clear vision of where you want to take them. So it's always important for you to try and assess the current skills and capabilities of your coachee and mentee and to get a clear picture of where you would like to take them in their development. You also need to be able to stimulate people by giving them challenging assignments and support throughout the process. Let's look at D. What did we have for D? Dependable. They need to be able to rely on you. You need to have discipline, ability to develop other people. Anything else on D? Okay. you need to be able to make decisions. And decisions basically is setting an issue, producing a defined result, having or showing the ability to make decisions quickly and effectively. Diversity of solutions, also important. What did we have for the next R? Responsible. It's very important that your coachee and your mentee sees that you are a responsible person in the work that you're doing. I had realistic. And realistic is to have or show a sensible and a practical idea of what is achieved or expected, and representing things in a way that is accurate, true to life. So you shouldn't give answers that are not really true, but it should be connected to real life and realistic. Reliability is very important. Respect is always, it's the basis. That's one of the values we all should have. I think the last one, reform. Your focus will be to reform somebody and help them to change their way of doing, help them to grow. The last one is a no-brainer. Let's, okay, Cheryl, you got that. Role model. Now, a role model is someone who always is positive. Now, listen to this. A person that's always positive, calm, confident in themselves. So you need to ask yourself as coaches and mentors whether you are a proper role model. You don't want to put someone who is down or tries to bring you down. Everybody likes a person who is happy with their achievements, but continues to strive for bigger and better objectives. Remember, if you are a coach or a mentor, there are many people watching you. They watch every move, and you should set the appropriate example. Now, let's ask ourselves the next question. What do you think patience is? Is it a skill or a quality? Is patience a skill or a quality? Nadira, Trisha, I see quality, I see skill. Nora, skill. Skill, quality. Mohammed Yassin, Abdul Rashid, you say skill. It is actually a skill because it's something that you are able to actually show on a day-to-day basis. Initiative, is that a skill or a quality? I've got a skill. And it is a skill. Initiative is a skill. The next one, resourcefulness. Is that a skill or a quality? Skill. Somebody says skill, a quality. It is a skill. It is a skill. The ability to think strategically. Do you think that is a skill? The ability to see a person's end goal, to associate with what you think that person can achieve. It is a skill, because in order for you to understand where you would like to take a person, you also need to have the skills in order to understand. Right, the next one is decisive. Do you think that's a skill or a quality? Ability to make decisions on the spot. Mahaya, you say quality. Cecilia, you say a skill. It actually is a skill. Now let's look at realistic, the ability to make realistic assumptions. Is that a skill or ability, quality? Higher quality, quality. It actually is a quality that we should have. And then lastly, the role model. Is that a skill or a quality? It's a quality because you build that over time. You build it through experience. Now, people, what's important to me is that you look at those qualities and be aware of the things that you as a coach or a mentor should have in order to be a good coach or a mentor. Patience, initiative, resourcefulness, strategic, decisive, realistic, and a real role model. For those of you that are in leadership positions that need to allocate coaches or mentors, that is something that you need to keep in mind as qualities that you would be looking at when you would like a person to be a coach or a mentor in the organization. What's the difference between a skill and a quality? A skill is something that is inherently embedded in you. It's something that you learn over time. Whereas a quality is something you learn. It's almost like a personality trait that you learn over time. Now, the next is some true and false questions, and these are some eye-openers, some of them. So I would like you to participate. The first one is taking time to coach or mentor decreases productivity for the coach or the mentor. Do you think that is true or false? False. I've got a lot of falses. Absolutely. It can make the coach, the mentor, and the coachee and mentee more productive. The second one, the person being coached or mentored is the only one who benefits from the relationship. Is that true or false? Zainab, Haya, false. Trisha, I see you also false. Nora, false. Absolutely. Both can benefit from that relationship. You can even learn from your coachee and mentee. Coaching and mentoring only happens on a one-to-one, long-term, or face-to-face basis. Is that true or false? I see some truths, I see some false. We are currently actually doing this. This is a coaching session, so it's not only one-to-one. We've got 34 participants. It is not always long-term. Sometimes I need to quickly show you how to do an Excel sheet or a calculation. That is a short-term coaching session. And it does not always have to be face-to-face. Okay? So that one is false. Coaches and mentors challenge the coachees or mentees to move beyond his or her comfort zone. Do you think that is true or false? True. I see somebody's drawing on my board, so let me just clear that, please. Let's not do that. Just clear this quickly. True. It is true. You are trying to let the coachee or the mentee know that they are capable of doing more than what they think they can do. If you can get that first step right, you've achieved a lot, people. So you are providing guidance, support through a patient approach to get a person to understand that they are able, if they are willing and they have the necessary skills, they can take it further in their careers. Coaching and mentoring are the same thing. Is that true or false? Abdul Rashid, Zainab, false, false. Absolutely, it's not the same thing, and we need to just, this is one of the main purposes of today's session. You really need to understand the difference between those two. Then the next one, a line manager must never be a coach for someone in the same department. Do you think that's true or false? False. Mohammed, Nora, absolutely. If I am a manager and I have somebody working in my department and I give that person an assignment or a task and they say, I'm not really sure how to do it, as a manager, you can quickly show the person how to do it and give them the steps to follow. Now, the next one is quite interesting. A line manager must never be a mentor for someone in the same department. Do you think that is true or false? I see true. Prisha, Faisal, true. I also see a false. I'll try and explain it. Cheryl, there's some falses. Mary, Abdul Rashid, it is true. Now, it also depends on the relationship between the mentor and the mentee. If you're not comfortable that when you're a line manager to be mentoring somebody about their career aspirations, what their ambitions in life are, it is better to have somebody outside of line with whom they can go and talk to. Sometimes it happens that the coachee or the mentee have a personal issue with the line supervisor. And if that line supervisor is also the mentor, it makes it very difficult to discuss that. So there may be a bit of conflict of interest. So you need to be able to distinguish between that. I'm not saying you should not do it, but it's advisable that the coachee, that the mentee has somebody else outside their direct line. The next one is documentation is vital when coaching or mentoring takes place and action plans are agreed. Is that true or false? Absolutely true. After each meeting, and if you have more than one coachee or mentee, it's important to have a file in which you keep records of what was discussed during the last meeting, because there will be follow-up meetings, and you can use that to refer back to see whether objectives were achieved. Coaching and mentoring relationships will not work if the two parties cannot get along with each other. Is that true or false? Absolutely. If two people can't get along, it's better to find somebody else to do the coaching and mentoring. All right? Now, during our 2-day course, we actually give you some practical exercises where we do role plays and you get a good feel of what the difference is between coaching and mentoring. It's actually it's fun and very insightful. Now, if we think about ourselves, to get where we are today, at least 5 people have taken time to coach or mentor me. Think about that. Since you started your career, it may be a short career, or since you've been a child, teachers, etc. True. So there are lots of people in our lives that actually put in effort to coach or mentor us. Now, this is something I would like to share with you. If you think back about your career and your life so far, can you remember somebody who did something or said something about the way you do work that really hurt you? Anybody? Yes? Yes or no? Somebody said, you made a comment and it's always sticking with you. Zinab, you say yes. Yes. I think we all had that experience, right? Somebody just said something, you always remember that. Now, on the other side, there may be somebody in your career or more than one person that told you something or made a comment that made you feel good and inspired. Yes or no? Absolutely. What I want you to do is ask which one of those do you want to be for your coachee or your mentee. And for those that did the good job, I also recommend that you go back to them, even if you're not in contact with them anymore, and thank them for what they've done and the difference that they've made in your life and your career. Remember in the beginning, I said this is a very noble cause. And through coaching and mentoring, you can make a difference in somebody's life. So we need to take it seriously. And the satisfaction that you get out of that by coaching and mentoring somebody is just, money cannot buy that. Now we're going to move on to the first question. And this is, what do you think? Let me just get to the right page. What do you think coaching is? Maybe you can just shout that out. Unmute yourself and just tell me, what do you think is coaching? Ah, sorry, my apologies. What does best describe coaching? The new question is, what do you think is coaching? Nora? Improvement. Anything else? Life. Let me just write that down. It's support. Anything else? What is coaching? Educate. Developing. I love this one. We're going to go to that also. Yes. Right direction. Okay. Let's move down. If we think about mentoring, what is your best understanding of mentoring? Solutions, guiding. That's a bit different. You hear there's a different support. Long-term development. Mutual relations. You also help solving problems. Sharing experience. Thank you for sharing that. Now let's look at it. The definition of coaching stimulates and manages the individual growth necessary to deliver the business performance beyond present levels and beliefs of what is possible by helping employees. So this is focused on performance, all right? Can you see that there's a bit of a difference between the two? Mentoring. Mentoring is to support and encourage people to manage their own learning in order that they maximize their potential, develop their skills, and improve their performance and become the person they want to be. Coaching is focused on the work, getting people to perform. Mentoring is let the person understand that they have skills and abilities they can develop to become a person they would like to be in their careers. So it's more long-term focused. The mentoring process is more long-term focused. To take it a little bit further, I would like you to think about points in common, and after that also differences between coaching and mentoring. Now let's quickly go to this one. What do you think is common between coaching and mentoring? What is common between the two? You can just write it down in the chat box. Performance. It's focused on performance. growth, relationship, anything else, development. They both are focused. My spelling. It's focused on goals, achieving goals, observing, okay, proactive. All right, that's enough on that one. Let's move down to the next one. Now, what do we think are the main differences, if you think between coaching and mentoring? What are the main differences you have in mind? Duration, absolutely. One is short-term, one is long-term. Time. The aims. Anything else? Coaching and mentoring are different in terms of the growth, the type of growth, way of doing. Coaching is more official, mentoring is more personal. One is individual. One-on-one. Okay, let us look at those. Some valid points, absolutely, duration and time. The aims is different. Let's have a look at this one. Sorry about that. Coaching and mentoring are both used to nurture the employee's skills and achieve business objectives. So both are focused on getting the person to have the skills in order to achieve objectives. Both are used to challenge and help the individuals to change the way they work, not only the way they work, but also how they see life and think about their careers. And both identify and solve problems, make decisions, overcome obstacles, and help the individual to implement changes where required. Those are the points in common. Now let's look at the differences, the fundamental differences. The first area is focus. The coach is concerned with developing skills and strategies to achieve short-term performance objectives. It's focused on the short term. Mentoring focuses on personal growth and continuous improvement and individual's capability and potential. Function. The function of the coach is to help an individual to achieve specific objectives. You need to be able to do this specific task. The mentoring is focused on developing mentees to a point where they can make mature and intelligent career decisions. All right? So it's about getting an individual to understand the context of work within the life and to make mature and intelligent decisions. The coach is focused on performance and getting people to achieve objectives. The relationship between the differences between the coach and the mentor, the coachee is usually assigned. Now, this is very important. Sometimes I've seen in organizations that they allocate the mentors. It should not be the case. A line manager is responsible to allocate coaches because the line manager is focused on goals and objectives. They need to select the right person to teach the skills, or the person that will be able to teach the skills to achieve those objectives. Mentoring is about life. So I normally tell organizations, let the person first be in the organization for a while and get to know a good role model, somebody they aspire to, and approach that person to be their mentor. So it's better for the mentee to actually choose their mentor, because that person must be somebody they look up to and that they feel can actually help them develop their skills. So it's an individual choice. In terms of authority, the coach has got more authority than the mentor, because the coach is generally in authority and change of managing the objectives to be achieved. They want to make sure the person acquires the specific skills. Mentoring is more highly ranked within the organization's business hierarchy, but authority is tempered. The mentor cannot really interfere in the goals and objectives that needs to be achieved. They can guide the person on how to do and alternatives and solutions, but they're not directly involved in achieving those objectives. Reward, the difference between the coach's reward are usually in the form of the values improved performance. Coaches don't usually accept to learn from their coachees. Mentoring is more reciprocal. Both learn from one another. Both the mentor and the mentee learn from each other, and they grow professionally. So focus, we've got focus as an area of difference, function, relationship, authority, reward. The last one is the area of activity. Somebody mentioned that. Organizations use coaching when employees need help to achieve specific objectives or perform specific tasks, whereas mentoring is more used for a broader purpose, such as developing managerial talent. So there is a long-term focus in developing the talent of individuals. Now, when we get to virtual coaching and mentoring, here are some things you need to keep in mind. It may be required from you. With the technology we have available, you may be sitting in your head office and you need to do coaching or mentoring of people that are site-based or in another branch. Keep these things in mind. Do not dictate the medium. Don't say we only need to use Zoom. There's also Microsoft Teams. You can now do it on Facebook, Google Chats. You can do it by phone. Always make sure you have the right equipment. If you are using the internet, make sure that you have a good wireless connection. The location still matters. You need to be in a place where it's quiet and you are not interrupted. So make sure you select the right location. When you engage in a coaching or mentoring discussion, show the coachee and mentee that you are focused and not distracted. If I'm talking to you in this manner, it's like face to face. But if I am distracted by my mobile phone, and that's a very important thing. Always, I even see people on news channels, they have a Zoom meeting or they comment virtually, and their phones keep on beeping. Please put your phone on silent to show the coachee and mentee that you are focusing on them. Manage the time. It's very, very easy to run over time. So say we have an hour, focus, respect the process. The coachee or mentee may come up with different solutions and alternatives. Always respect that. Very important to formalize it. Afterwards, document it in an email as discussed. You may have a summary sheet that you use in your company. I suggest that you have that, in which you summarize what was discussed and the outcomes. Your starting point is always the development plan. What do you want to achieve? For the coachee, it would be, what skill are we talking about? In the mentoring process, it's about what is the career aspirations? What is the next level that you would like to move to? and what skills are required. Let's talk about that. Always remain flexible. Don't enforce, and that's a very important thing about coaching and mentoring. The coach and the mentor is not there to tell. They are there to ask questions and generate ideas from the coachees and the mentees. We're not there to tell people what to do. That's not the role of the coach and the mentor. And always show that you are relaxed and smile. So make time for your people so they feel comfortable. That's just some things that you need to keep in mind when you use virtual coaching and mentoring. Now, it also happens that sometimes coaching and mentoring fails. Can you think of any reasons why coaching and mentoring may fail? You can just write down in the chat box. Why do you think coaching and mentoring relationship? They are not focused. There's not enough time. Oh, ego. I know much better than you. Don't tell me. That's the knower. We talk about the knower and the learner. No support, poor relationships. Did not prepare, not enough time. You need to make time. Very important. Lack of motivation, lack of commitment, lack of knowledge. Anything else? Very valid points, people. You're getting a good understanding. Anything else that can make it fail? Oh, jealousy. I'm not sure I want to coach this person because he might get stronger than I am. There's no resources, very important. Make sure that there's sufficient. If it's noisy, it could make it fail. Oh, trust. Trust is the basis, people. We always need to trust the person that's coaching us or mentoring us. The person wants to hold his position. He doesn't want to teach other people. He feels threatened. So he's not supportive. Disrespect, be careful of that. That's why we need to have patience. Sometimes the young person doesn't always have the respect. So you need to put the person into the right context. Network. They don't get updates. People are selfish. Okay, some great ideas here. Now, if we think about those things that can make it fail, lack of skills of expertise, you can please do not embark on coaching and mentoring if you're not qualified. Now, in terms of mentoring, you can actually mentor people in other disciplines because it's about life in general. Now, also the role of the coachee is very important. But there are ways, and in our 2-day course, I give you a model that you can use that even if a person is not motivated, you can apply and take it step by step to encourage that person to actually achieve the objectives. And you'll be amazed how effective that works. Okay, let us think about some guidelines that we, as trustworthy coaches and mentors, should have and apply. There should be a mutual agreement. Oops, let me just get there, sorry. Normally there's a opening meeting, and in that meeting you would introduce yourself and say, this is the value I can add. What do you expect from me? How can I help you? What is your background? This is my background. So there should be a mutual agreement. Foresee a goal. So you need to agree on what the goals should be. Understand the growth phases. Recognize strengths. Be consistent. Now, remember, these are guidelines to make sure that we make the relationship work. I'm missing something here. In the first meeting, you will tell the coachee and the mentee. After each meeting, I'll be writing it down. It's not to hold it against you, but at least to record what we've discussed. So that's a guideline you should use. Provide feedback. I will always provide you with feedback, but that feedback should be constructive. Be careful not to be negative. But you're missing one very important one. If we have a close relationship as a coach and a mentor, there's something we need to have. Also as a guideline, very important, confidentiality, people. It is really important. And also to get feedback, maybe through a survey. Okay, so in establishing a good coaching and mentoring relationship, the first meeting should be focused on who I am, who you are. What are your development needs? How are we going to meet? I always say coaches and mentors should allocate time. Find time in your calendar that you allocate on a weekly basis so that when somebody comes to you and you say, I'd like to meet, you can say, well, okay, my coaching, my mentoring time is on Tuesdays between 2 and 4 o'clock. Allocate specific time so that there's an agreement on when a person can contact you. Also important is the medium. Will the person be able to contact you after working hours? Can they WhatsApp you? Should it be via email? Should it be in a one-on-one meeting? Where will meetings take place? Very important guidelines that are important to make sure it doesn't fail. But the basis is confidentiality. You and I will be having a relationship. Whatever we discuss will remain between us. And if it's required that I need to share something to enhance your development with your line manager, I will ask you for your permission. That builds the trust. And sometimes we miss that. Confidentiality is really important. Also important to address the gaps and the failures, to say, we've agreed in the last meeting, these are the things that need to be achieved. On the follow-up meeting, I can see we have not achieved that. What could be the reason? Not say you have not achieved your goals. Why not? I gave you time. What can we do to overcome them? Why do you think this happened? In our 2-day course, I provide you with models that helps you actually identify what are the goals, what are the actions, what are the alternatives. All right? So it needs to be a two-way discussion. Thank you for that, Zina. All right, so we have covered what fail, what can make it fail, and some guidelines. My top tips for you is always make time available, people. Accept challenges and ideas, very important. Do not engage if you are not committed. Somebody you mentioned, a lot of you mentioned time. Time is an issue. If you feel you don't have time, be honest. But do not start coaching and mentoring if you don't have time to do so. Do not overcommit. Do not have too many coachees or mentees. I normally say the ratio of coachees should be 5 to 7 max, and mentees should be 2, 3 max at a time. Otherwise, you will get overwhelmed. Avoid setting high expectations. What happened? And no promises, I love that. This goes back to expectations. What happens if we set exceptional high expectations from an individual? I set very high expectations. The person is pressured, may not achieve those objectives, and what happens then? The person gets demotivated, frustrated, and we are both disappointed. So Take it step by step within the capability of the coachee's mentee's skill set. Very important that you also expand your own knowledge and skills and consider accreditation. If you can accredit yourself as a coach or mentor, there are institutes that you can do that. Avoid the telling mode. I talked about that earlier. Don't tell, you are there to guide. Always use the first meeting to build trust and set the rules and guidelines. That's the number one priority. That lays the foundation. If you don't do that, the relationship is not going to work the way you would like it to. The personal development plan is always the basis for a good coaching and mentoring discussion, because through that you get a good idea of where the person would like to be. Always keep records of meetings and develop your own style that you are comfortable with. None of us are the same. And as you start embarking on this journey, you will also learn your own style of coaching and mentoring. Utilize your skills, because all of you have very important skills. You may not go and sit down the skills that you have in your free time, and you will be amazed on how many skills you have that you can share with other people and make a difference in somebody's life. And that is what coaching and mentoring is all about. You also need to pay it forward to other people. If you have it, share it with your coachees and mentees. Okay, before we go, I would love you to please complete the poll and just stay online. And could you quickly just answer the questions? Can you all see the poll? Ali, can you see the poll? Just complete it. It's a few questions. Make sure you answer all the questions and then push submit. There are 5 questions. Don't go away, please. Just stick with me for another 5 minutes. I appreciate your thank yous. Thank you, Mars. Thanks, Ahmed. Thank Gaia. Are we all done? Have you all submitted? There are question number 4. There are still some people that have not done that.
One question, coach.
Yes, Ali.
From 1 to 10, it's my height going up or to go down? Rate experience.
Just 1 is low and 10 is high.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, I've got 78% responses. Make sure you answer all the questions and submit. I've got 83%. We're nearly finished. How can I develop repo with team? Mohammed, can you maybe just, Abdul Rashid, inspiring session, gratitude. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Can you maybe, Mohammed, just tell me what exactly do you mean? Just unmute yourself. You ask, how can I develop repo with team? I think just stay online. We can discuss that. Okay, reputation with the team. It goes back to role model. It goes back to showing that you are capable of doing the work, showing willingness that you are willing to engage with the people. It may sometimes be very difficult, but once you start building the relationship over time, and the person sees that you are confident and you know what you're talking about, the reputation comes. It's like trust. How long does it take to build trust? Sometimes very, very long. How long does it take to break trust? 1 second. Okay, we've got 88% votes so far. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next slide. After this session, you will get a thank you email and receive a certificate of participation, a confirmation of participation, saying that you actually have participated in the session. And I want you to stay connected. I'm also available on Instagram. We have select on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can go to the website that you've been. This will probably be posted on the internet. Abdul Rashid, keep transparency dependable across, create a good report. However, there are many factors that contribute. Absolutely. It is not an easy process, but by showing commitment and really taking it seriously, it becomes easier to do that. Also, please connect with us on social media. Many of you are part of our community and we enjoy working with you. I really appreciate you attending the session today. And Hussam, thank you. I really appreciate it. Abdul Rashid, it was nice having you guys here today. I hope it helps. Stay safe and pass it on to other people. You can make a difference. Believe in yourself. Thank you, Mary. I hope it helped. Thank you, Abdul Rashid. Mariam, my pleasure. Thank you, Abdul Rashid. You need to share your knowledge. You have a lot of knowledge. Pleasure. Yes, Abdul Rashid, you raised your hand.
Yes, sir. I would like to know that the clear difference between the competency and capability.
A competency is something that you acquire, right? That you need to go on a course for. A capability is something that you inherently have and you develop over time. A competency is something you need to achieve at a specific standard. Normally you have a competency profile. A capability is the ability to achieve that competency. Does that make it clear? All right, thank you. I wish you all the best. Have a good evening and thank you very much.